I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, we're going to get started. Everybody can take their seats, please. Oh. Okay, we're going to get started. It is 6:30. I'm calling the meeting to order. We have a jam-packed agenda, so I want to make sure we get through everything. Okay, thank you for joining today's meeting either on person or I'm sorry. Thank you for joining today's meeting either in person or virtually. Please be advised that our meetings are being recorded for documentation and reference purposes. By continuing to be a part of this meeting, you consent to being recorded. If you have any concerns or objections, you can let someone on the board know. Thank you and welcome to LD12 monthly meeting. My name is Melissa Gillard. I'm the chair of the district. Thank you. Today I am joined by First Vice Chair Sherry Johnson. Second Vice Chair Marion White. We're right there. Susie Thornton is on Zoom, and Melanie Magasos is on Zoom, and Jeff and Joe decided to take a vacation. So they are not here, but they are hoping to join us on Zoom. So we'll say boo to them because they're not here. But thank you all. Oh, sorry. One more? Yeah, maybe one more. I skipped right over that. Arizona LD12 Democrats acknowledge the land we gather on today as the ancestral homeland of the indigenous nations that have inhabited these lands since time immemorial. We take this opportunity to thank the Hohoka, including the Aquinnah O'odham, and the Pequot Maricopa peoples of the past, present, and future for their traditional care of this land and their resilience. Attached to this physical space is a painful history, a forced removal resulting in intentional genocide of its indigenous people. This history is important to all of us as a reminder not to cause further harm. We remain appreciative of our ability to teach, learn, and serve in a space of such importance. Thank you. For the month of April, we are celebrating Earth Day. So I want to remind you that the first Earth Day was held on April 22nd, 1970. Earth Day is an annual celebration that honors the achievements of the environmental movement and raises awareness of the need to protect the Earth's natural resources for future generations. So please make sure you do your part in protecting the Earth. Next slide. I want to welcome any first-time attendees. If this is your first time attending an LD12 monthly meeting, would you please raise your hand, stand up, and we have a welcome packet for you. Just want to know, just tell me your first name and which city you are from. Over here. So, okay. And then I'll check on Zoom in a second. So, yeah. Yeah. What? Bob? Rob. From Phoenix? Patty? Phoenix. From Phoenix. And then Adama from Phoenix. Who else? Nobody else. Okay, we had a few people online. I missed it. Let's see. Oh, I can't see the chat. Hold on. Oh, this is gonna be hard. Anybody on Zoom? Deborah, she is new. She is on Zoom. Is there anybody else? Okay, looks like it. So welcome to LD12's monthly meeting. We appreciate you coming out to spend your night with us. During the championship game. We gotta stop holding these meetings on championship games. I'm just saying. And then elected officials, I'm gonna have Sherry do it. Yeah. Did you like that? If you're an elected official, you can. We have our Senator Mitzi Epstein. And Constable Bridget Valentina. I know. All right, and then if you are a candidate for office, please stand up. Oh, Karen Lathan. Karen Lathan is also an elected official online. She's also a constable for Kyrie Justice Precinct. I'm sorry, University Lake. Oh, okay. Okay, in Canada, we have Antoine Pedrolu. And Russ Skinner for sure. And Nicole Miller for Tempe Union Governing Board, and Cedric Collins for Kyrie Governing Board. And Lisa, I don't know. Okay, got it. We'll have time at the end for all the DNC delegates to come and make their pitch. Anybody else online?
No. I don't see anything.
Okay.
All right, next slide. Oh, one more. One more. I'll eventually get there.
Okay. I want to thank every month Bill Baker and Judy Wade do these amazing bada bings. Oh, we're going to go back one. There we go. They do these amazing bada bing raffle basket. Please purchase your tickets. The QR codes are on your paper. So remember, on your tables are the agendas at all of the upcoming events. It has QR codes to buy your raffle tickets for these bada bing baskets that are amazing. And if you don't know, this is a Kate Spade polka dotted tea kettle. It is amazing. I saw it in person. And if you want to, they're over here. You can go see someone over there. Marion, wherever Marion is. Or Tracy or Dana to buy, if you want to pay cash or a check, they will help you out, get your tickets and get everything registered to buy your raffle basket too. So thank you. Oh, okay. LD12 monthly meetings. The Pecos Community Center, where we are sitting right now, is not available in the months of June and July. Therefore, we are going to be changing it up. On our monthly meeting for June 10th, we are going to have a social event. So instead of having the monthly meeting, we're renting a place in Chandler. We're going to play some bingo. We're going to have some social time instead of a monthly meeting. We are really cool. So please join us for that because, as you know, in the month of July will be our GOTV. We will do that one on Zoom because it is that final push that we're going to be doing for everybody to get out and vote for the primary. So just keep that in mind. I'll repeat this again next week. Dems give back. Francine is not here. She also took a vacation. I said, everybody's taking vacations but me. If you have anything that you brought for my sister's place, please go back there by Kathy. She's holding up the sign. If you brought any donations or if you want to make a donation, you did not get a chance to bring it tonight, you could just make sure we can get it for you. You could drop it off at Dana's house or Francine when she gets back. So please, this is a great opportunity. We love giving to my sister's place. Next. Oh, hey, Sherry's up. Okay, last call for PC write-in forms. If anybody has one outstanding or they are just now deciding that they want to become a PC for the 2024-2026 term, now's your last chance to turn those in. We are turning in our last batch this week. And next month, we will give you a huge update about all of the recruitment that we did for PCs for this next term. And we're really excited. If anybody has any questions, come see me afterwards if you're still interested and want to know if there's space in your precinct. Next up, we will get an update from Elijah Watson, our organizer for the Biden-Harris campaign.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Great to see all of you. Elijah Watson, Biden-Harris organizer, also Arizona Democratic Party coordinated organizer. We don't We don't bring out that coordinated title all the time because it's a lot to say out loud. Want to start with a few like big thank yous and announcements. Hi, Jacob. Hi. A lot of big announcements and things like that. The month of March was a really, really big month, y'all. So hold the applause until the end, please. Okay, number one, President Biden is the official Democratic nominee for president. You can clap. In the month of March, we also had Congressman Jamie Raskin show up to the city of Tempe in the East Valley. We had a lot of stuff happen in the month of March, but the month of April is going to be just as jam-packed. This last Sunday, we also had Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut show up in the East Valley. That was a fun one. I'm sorry for all that news. I got that super late notice email like 3.5 hours before the event happened, but some of you did show up, so thank you so much. We're also planning on having our East Valley office opening in the month of April. There's all these different events going on. But I do want to take some of the time that I have to also thank some of the people that have helped us in the month of March and April where we've been in our busiest. Thank you to the entire board, Melissa, Sherry, Melanie, Susie, Jeff, Joe, etc. For all the, hi Mary, you too, I almost forgot. Also want to thank all of our amazing volunteers. I'm seeing them in the crowd. Carol, Catherine, Aurelia, all these other, Amy, Jacob, Bradley in the back. Everyone, can we get a round of applause for your volunteers, please? Thank you so much. But that is not all, right? So I do want to really put out a big push on something because I don't think I've been very clear in the last meetings that I've been coming to, right? That what we really should be focusing on in the next few months is that direct voter contact, right? Getting out and knocking on doors. Just by a show of hands, and I already kind of know the answer to this question, so don't be afraid. How many of you guys actually like knocking on doors? Right. So that was my expected response. That was my expected response, everybody, was that like very big drop of hands, right? And that's because a lot of the times when we're knocking on doors, right, one, we're doing it for sometimes candidates that we are not always the most fond of, right, that we don't know super personally, unless you're knocking on doors for our local candidates. Or it's because the experience that you're having at the doors is made by an organizer that also doesn't like knocking doors, right? I like knocking on doors. I want to make sure that your door knocking experience is as good as it can get. That's why in the East Valley, I try to make sure that number one, when we're knocking doors, we're knocking on doors for the Abortion Access Initiative to get the constitutional right of abortion in the Arizona Constitution. I pair everybody up with a partner. I don't want anybody going alone and have these kind of controversial and sometimes really hard conversations with people at the doors. I try to give you the absolute best training I can. I think after 5 years of doing this work, I know how to give on a good training, okay? They're good events. They're every Saturday from 12 to 2:30, and then I'm expanding to our folks in the West Chandler, I guess West Chandler representation up in here. For our people in West Chandler, I'm trying to expand to you as well, because we're also gonna have one on Saturdays from 3 to 5 in the West Chandler area. So we're really trying to get good on this. Final thing, hate to break some kind of sad, bad news, but it's my job as an organizer. Tomorrow, the Arizona Supreme Court will be releasing a ruling on whether or not the 1864 pre-territorial or free-statehood abortion ban goes into effect, right? And if all of us know the Arizona Supreme Court, we all kind of have a feeling as to where that decision is going to go. And so,
people on Zoom can't hear you.
Hi, people on Zoom. Sorry. If we know how the Arizona Supreme Court usually works and how this is probably going to go, you knocking on doors to get this initiative on the ballot and to ensure that this gets signed into law, or sorry, that this gets passed with the Arizona Constitution is more important than ever before. So please, show up to an event, protect reproductive rights. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
By the way, before I give the mic back to Melissa, we do have the abortion access petition over here at the table. Dana has it with her. Tracy has it over there. Raise your hand. So if you have not signed already, please make time to go over there and sign that.
At any point. At any point during this meeting, you can get up and sign the petition. Okay. The executive board is going to be opening up another position. Let me get my glasses on. Yeah. So per our bylaws, additional executive committee members may be added by the proposal of the chair during a general meeting, which is today. And then you guys will be electing that person in at the next general meeting, so next month, okay? We'd like to be adding an at-large board member to the current board to provide additional support for this upcoming election. The responsibilities will include, but are not limited to, communications, data collection, universe creations for neighbor-to-neighbor letters, social media, social events, attending the executive board meetings, and more. I say and more, you know, that's very loose. But we know that we need more help on the executive board to get our communication together. Specifically, we are going to start working on our neighbor-to-neighbor letter and do more targeting this year. So we are looking for somebody to help with that. So thank you. Okay, next slide. I gotta flip my page. Okay, upcoming events. We have a ton of upcoming events. LD12 does so much. We are all around town. So please, on your agendas that are on the tables, on the back side are every upcoming event for the month of April. We put in there for some Mays, and then of course, next slide, very important. Oh, one more, I don't know why there's a delay. In June, so we're gonna be going back to the Mercury game. So we are gonna be doing some group tickets. We got one section, I think 4 rows. So look out for the information on that. Of course, we said June is going to be our social event as well. So we're gonna have a bingo night. We have a lot of stuff going on. So make sure you check the LD12 calendar. And then of course, we always give you all of the upcoming events here to take home. Please take the agendas home. I printed them for you to take home. Next slide. I would like to give an update on the Ahwatukee parade. We had an amazing time. We created a beautiful float. So this was the group, this was us at the end after walking. It was so much fun. So the next slide. This is us walking in the parade with our float. We managed, so Julia stand up, thank you. I came up with this crazy idea and she ran with it and designed it. And I want to just thank the amazing team that I had. And I'm so sorry if I forget anybody. But Ed, he is a new PC. He's not here tonight. I have Becky Scottney. I have her husband, Tom Scottney. Mark Vladek, who offered his home up. So we were at his home a lot, was building this parade. So thank you to Mark and Rich. I know we're gonna come and deconstruct soon. Sally Nelson, Kate was there. We also had Dana, Deb Browning and her husband, Paul. Margot Herman and her husband. I mean, there was a lot of us. We had so much fun. I can't wait to do it again. I just don't know. It was a lot of work, I'll just admit, but we did have fun. And the bubbles were a hit with every kid. So that was a good thing. So thank you very much to everybody that helped out with to make this a wonderful parade. We had a lot of good reaction. I also want to talk about this coming Saturday is another event spotlight. Right here in the Pecos Community Center, we're going to be doing our candidate kickoff. We've invited any candidate that's running, we've invited them to come join us here to get that one-on-one. You'll be able to talk with them, interact with them, and ask whatever questions you want to. We try to invite as many candidates as we can to the monthly meetings, but you know these are jam-packed. So please make sure you stop by and talk to the candidates on this Saturday right here at the Pecos Community Center. That's okay. I don't know what's next. Stuck. Hold on. I think you have to click on it. Click on the screen. Oh, Carrie, you're up. Oh, okay. I'll keep going. Oh, yes, I forgot. Lone Butte, part of our district is the Gila River Indian Community. It's a very large part of our LD. It's a lot of land, But we do have some houses out there, and we just don't have a lot of registered voters. So there is a strip of houses, there's 20 of them, and there's like 3 registered voters. That's it. So we are planning, we have been out there and we have introduced ourselves and we have talked to the community. And so we are going to be doing what's called a voter registration picnic with them. We're gonna go out to them and we are gonna set up, have a picnic right there and help them get registered to vote. One of the biggest issues is that there's no postal delivery where they live. They have to drive somewhere to get their mail. They have to drive sometimes up to 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get their mail, okay? So we would just like to try to get them registered to vote so they give them the opportunity to vote in this upcoming election. If you are interested in joining this committee, Jeff Tucker, who is not here, is putting this picnic together. He has been reaching out to them. So if you are interested, please reach out to Jeff and he will get you up to date with this. But we are going to be doing this picnic on Saturday, April 27th from 11:30 to 1. Okay? Oh, Sherry's coming in. Thank you.
Okay, this Friday is Maricopa County Young Democrats Desert Garden Gala. And Melissa and I are planning on attending, and we love anybody that wants to join us to do so. So if you are interested in sitting at a table with us and supporting the Young Democrats, please come see one of us tonight. We have to know tonight so we know how big of a table or how many seats we need. So come see us if you are interested. And then the next one is we also have the Leading for Change fundraiser dinner, where Nicole Miller and Melissa Westbrook are part of their fellowship. We did support them by purchasing a table. So if you would like to join us for that event, it is on Friday, May 3rd. And we also need to know by tonight probably for that one too. So come see Melissa or I for that. Last up for, I'll just do it. Okay, good. And then some recurring monthly events that the LD12 Dems host are the Dems and Donuts. This month will be with Laura Metcalf, who is running for Maricopa County Superintendent of Schools. We have our Watering Hole Wednesday, which will be at Nello's this month. We have game night, which Mary Rothschild is hosting. So raise your hand, Mary. You'll see her if you would like to attend. And then, of course, our Dems, AZ Dems Readers and Leaders Book Club, they are reading the Rachel Maddow book. I forget the title, but it's on the website. Prequel. And next, I would like to introduce Dr. Janie Heydrich, and she is going to give us an update on the 2024 DNC delegate selection process.
Well, as you said before, it's probably a slam dunk. I don't know what would happen in between now and the middle of August, but I think Biden is going to be the Democratic nominee for president. That's part of what the DNC is about, the Democratic National Convention. The biggest part to me is being a delegate to that convention, because it's the delegates that confirm who the presidential nominee is going to be. They decide the platform for the Democratic Party for 4 years. What do we believe in? How do we say what we believe in? And if you have any value that you want expressed in the DNC platform, then the representatives that we elect are going to have that responsibility. They also decide what the rules are. So how do we perform as a Democratic Party? Certainly not like the other party. We are dignified, we are an umbrella party, and we have strong values about people and the earth. So it's really important that we elect people who represent us as a party, as an electorate in Arizona, and represent our values. Oh, let's get off that slide. Okay, Well, here's the fun part, and you know, I always think, gosh, if every Democrat, if every independent could go to a DNC and just be part of that. I mean, how many of you have lived in your neighborhood and thought, okay, there's another Democrat 20 miles from here? Right, but in here, you are in a hall with 20 to 25,000 people who agree with you and support your values. It's not going to happen anywhere else. It's amazing. And then they have balloons and confetti and they pay the maintenance people overtime. It's wonderful. Right, next slide. Okay, so this is what you are going to do. Raise your hand if you are a PC. Awesome. The power is with you, not with the state committee people, not with the elected leaders, with you as a PC. You have a vote. On April 20th, first, we are going to convene as a congressional district. Number 4, Stanton's territory. So we have 9 females who said, I want to be a delegate. We have 9 males who said, I want to be a delegate. And for those of you who are concerned, there was a binary category, and one CD does have a binary candidate who will not count as a male or a female. So everything's taken care of. It's all great. So here are your candidates, the males and the females, and hopefully they're in the right column. And from those, as a CD, not as an LD, as a CD, you're going to vote for 3 females and 3 males. That happens on April 20th. Now, we have some fantastic people who are candidates to be delegates. They deserve your vote. So, if you're going to go to Hawaii, or if you're going to get married on the April 20th or some such thing, and you're not going to be able to be a voting PC on that day, well, I used my printer until it was exhausted and collapsed on the floor. I have proxies. If there's any chance that you will not make it on April 20th, we need your vote as a PC. So there are the forms tonight. They will be up here. All you need is filling out the information, put the name of somebody that you want to be the proxy. And if you don't have an idea who might be your proxy, then just leave that blank and we'll assign it. And then you need 2 witnesses. There's a whole room full of you. You don't even have to be a PC to be a witness. And then we will email it in for you. Now, some of you I've talked to in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and some people said, you know, I haven't gotten anything about April 20th. Well, you did, but it didn't come from ADP. It came from Sierra Yamanaka. So if she went into your spam folder, or if you looked at Sierra Yamanaka and went, that's one I can get rid of, you missed it. If you did not get that information, let us know. Just email us and we'll have ADP, or we will send you another copy of that email. It's really important that you have a voice in this. Now, LD12, I want to talk to you off the cuff here. Who's the biggest LD in CD4? Who has the most PCs in Arizona, but at least in CD4? So if LD12 PCs show up and we look at this list and we go, ooh, we have a lot of power. That's why your leadership at the beginning of the year says, we need PCs. There's a lot you can do. This is a big thing that you can do. You're going to be electing people that decide the platform for the party for 4 years. If you want chocolate ice cream in that platform, you gotta elect someone who's gonna do that for you. And you can do that, 1 vote. All right. Now, did we skip one? Oh, okay.
Go back. Sorry.
All right. So I put it on the slide, right? This is the information that comes to you from Sierra Yamanaka. You have to register for April 20th. You can't just walk in there and say, I'm a PC. They'll say, that's nice. See you next year. You have to register. Again, if you don't find that email, if you don't think you have it, save yourself 3 hours looking for it, email and say, I need that information. I'm sorry? Is Sierra like Sierra Madre? And Yamanaka is all A's. With the, the other letters. Okay, now, Joe Schmo is sitting there going, oh, this is important. I want to do this, but I can't be there. I've got to coach a soccer game, or I've got to go to Hawaii, or I've got to do this or that. Proxies. Again, we have tons of proxy forms. So if you can't go, you can search the ADP site, but it'll take you 37 minutes. They're right here. And we will email them in for you or snail mail them. They are due by May 17th. April 17th, not a minute later. If you send it in at 12:03 after midnight, it will not be accepted. Okay? Yes. Oh, yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, I'm definitely going to be there April 20th. I wouldn't miss that excitement for anything. I can only have 1 proxy. Renee gave me hers today, that's it. I can't go in with 2 or 3 or 4. Each person who is there on April 20th can bring 1 proxy. That was a great question, by the way. Okay. Again, if you're not sure who's going and whom you should name as your proxy, don't worry. Just give the form to Sherry or Melissa or to me, and we'll find somebody, and then that will be your vote. Okay? Now, I put it on the screen. That's nice. But you know what? Your leadership put it on the agenda. So you have a QR code. When you walk out here, there is no excuse not to be there on the 20th and registered or have your proxy ready for someone else. Stephanie. Yeah. Oh, yes, you could. Yeah, absolutely. You'd miss the 2nd and 3rd goals, but no problem. Yeah. All right. Is there another slide?
Yes, there's 2 more.
Oh, okay.
3 more.
So when you go online to register for April 20th, this is what it'll look like. If you registered for anything else through Mobilize, you know what it's like. And then you'll get a receipt from Sierra Yamanaka that looks like this, okay? And then you know you're in. If you haven't gotten a confirmation, you might ask one of us to follow up on that, okay? Or look in your spam folder, Sierra might be there languishing.
There's the QR code.
All right, on the morning of April 20th, you're right, Stephanie, it is a virtual meeting and it's saving hundreds of thousands of dollars for the Arizona Democratic Party, which I think we may need in like summer. In the morning, you can sign up for election buddy training. If you're not a state committee member and you're not familiar with it, it's a good idea to go to that. And then what it's like to be a delegate. So there are good trainings at 10 a.m. So if you're at that soccer game, make sure you're on and checked in at 10 o'clock. That's when the speeches begin. for CD4, 9 women, 9 men. And based on those speeches and whom you know, you will be electing 3 males and 3 females. Yeah. You know, that's a good question, and I don't know. Just do it as soon as possible.
Today is the last day. Hurry up, do it right now.
By 7:15.
If you have questions that are based on your personal, you know, weird situation, come on up and ask us. I'd rather have you know what you're doing and have your questions answered. Yes. And seriously, if you have any questions at all about the delegate selection program, about April 20th and about May 18th, which is the final selection, please email me. I wrote the program, so I got the answers. Yeah.
$10.
Okay, CD4 is one of 5 or 6 CDs that are going to begin at 10 and hopefully be done at 1. The other CDs will begin at 1 and go as long as they need to. Yes. Yep.
We are going to be sending out an email specifically to PCs with all of the details, which one you need to select, reminders about proxies, list of all the candidates, their bios, all of this information this week. So be on the lookout from the email for from LD12 to PCs only, and this is current PCs for the 2022-2024 term, not new PCs that we're submitting for 24 to 26. Just so you don't think you're missing out if you're a new PC that we're submitting for right now. Next up, we have a couple calls to action. I'm gonna invite Paul Weick up here to talk about LD12 Rules Committee and also a need for poll workers and observers.
Thank you, Sherry. Wait, Melissa. Oh,
I just want to make sure that you stand close so they can hear you on Zoom.
okay, I'll stand close. I won't walk all around. Rules Committee, self-explanatory. We are setting up a Rules Committee to make sure that our bylaws, that we are leading the way on having good bylaws in LD12, not just like what we passed. We passed good ones before, but those were dictated to us kind of from the party. So there are some ideas for some changes that will make LD12 run better, run more smoothly. We hope to have some of those in the coming months. So if you want to be on that committee, join us on the Rules Committee. I'm excited. Boy, I get fired up about bylaws and rules. Not as fired up as Jeff Tucker, mind you, but I get fired up. Okay, next slide. Okay. This is what I really came up here to talk about, though, because I get, as most of you know, I get fired up about elections, election integrity, poll workers, poll observers, and we need everybody's help here with the remaining elections, the primary in July, the general election in November. Not just campaigning for all our great candidates, but also making sure that these elections run smoothly, that we don't give our voting centers, our election day voting centers, our early voting centers over to conspiracy theorists. We need Democrats in there to make sure. Thank you, Marion. Yeah, Marion was a poll worker for the first time last month at the PPE. Several of the people here in this room were poll workers or poll observers, and thank you very much for doing that. But what we saw in some of our Ahwatukee voting centers, some of our LD12 voting centers, and what we're hearing from around the county is that when Republicans dominate those voting centers, dominate the election board of poll workers, that the voting centers can become not so good. And that conspiracy theories start to get passed around among the poll workers and to the voters. And that is not a good thing. And it's not good for our democracy. Even though most of us, maybe all of us here in this room vote early, we can't concede all the people, all the independents, all the Democrats that do come in to the early voting centers for the month before and on election day. So we have that. We put together a scary list of things, some of the things that happened at voting centers this past month, and we've already, with Sherry's help and with Marion's help, we've been pushing that to the Maricopa County Democratic Party. I've brought up several of the issues with the Maricopa County Recorder's Office, Elections Department. So we are working on making sure that we solve these problems and we make sure that this does not happen again in July and in November. Most importantly, November. July, of course, is the primary. But if you can be involved in July, if you can get your feet wet and start to learn the system, learn the process, be a trained poll worker or an active poll observer, then when November comes around and when the October early voting period comes around, you will be more valuable to making sure that those voting centers are running properly and without the conspiracy theories and without the crap that some other people want to bring into the voting centers. So, like I said, here in LD12, we lead the way. So we are pushing MCDP, we are pushing ADP to make sure that we get more poll workers, poll observers trained and in the voting centers for the elections. So I would love for everybody here, but I know that's not realistic, to be either a poll observer or a poll worker. I can explain to you real quickly the differences. Poll workers are paid by the county. There are 28-day voting centers now. There are 8-day voting centers. There are 2 days, and then there are election day only voting centers. So if you can commit a whole month to being paid by the county to be in a voting center, that would be awesome. We need good Democrats at those too. But if you can only do shorter chunks of time as a poll worker, those are important too. County has improved their training process greatly over the last 6 to 8 years. And I've been doing this as a poll observer for the past 30 plus years for the Democratic Party all around the state, mostly in Maricopa County, but all around the state. And I've been a poll worker in the 2022 cycle and also last month in the 2024 cycle. And I have seen how the voting centers, the training for the poll workers has improved greatly. And it's really good. It would be good for you to go through that training, the Maricopa County training. But if you're not willing to commit to being a poll worker for the 1 day, 2 day, 8 day, 28 day, being an active poll observer, volunteer for the Arizona Democratic Party, Maricopa County Democratic Party, LD12, being a Democratic volunteer poll observer is important as well. And that way, there's more flexibility on your time commitments. You're not paid, of course, but you can be in the voting center and you can help. You're not as effective as a poll worker in quashing when the conspiracy crap starts getting passed around or when things happen. But you have a channel with the voting center inspector, the person who's in charge of that voting center. As a poll observer, you should be looking for things that are inappropriate or that need tweaking, and you can go talk to the voting center inspector. So poll observers are very important too. Active, trained poll observers. The state and the county haven't really emphasized being an active poll observer. So sometimes I've seen it as both a poll observer with the poll observers in the other party, And I've seen it as a poll worker. Sometimes poll workers just sort of go in there and sit in the corner and they think, oh, okay, I'm just going to look around from here and looks okay to me. And they're not really actively observing. And we need people, we need all of us to be those active observers. So get in touch with me. I've taken way too much time already on this, but get in touch with me. I think, yeah, my phone number's up there, and I will help, and I'll answer any questions. I'll plug you in, and we are going to make sure the county and the state, by all of us signing up, we're going to make sure that the county and the state parties do their jobs in plugging in those poll workers and training those active poll observers. One question, Mark. Right. Observers, more flexible time. Yes. As a poll worker, you have to work on election day. It's a super long day.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was I about to say? I don't know. But it's a super long day. The other days during the early voting, it's not a super long day, but it's still a long day. So if you don't feel that you can be a poll worker, yes, be a poll observer, Mark. And Mark has done both as well. And you've been a poll observer too, right? Okay. But he's been a marshal at a couple of Ahwatukee voting centers. He's great. Okay, my phone number's up there. Write it down. Call me if there are any questions.
Your phone number's on the agenda.
Oh, heck, my phone number's even on the agenda. I didn't see an agenda yet. But thank you very much, and thanks for helping, because we'll help push the county and the state parties.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, our guest speaker for tonight is county candidate for Maricopa County Sheriff, Russ Skinner. Before I have him come up here, if anybody anticipates having a question for him, raise your hand now. We're gonna have you write your question on a note card so that we can read them rather than me trying to summarize people's questions, which I did a terrible job of last time. So let's welcome Russ Skinner.
Thank you. There's a lot of energy in this room, Elijah. Man, you just got me inspired quite a bit. And I was going to go right into my introduction, but talking about election security is paramount. Obviously, it used to be a quiet little event that occurred in the past years. In fact, we'd have staff members go out and from our judicial enforcement division and just follow ballots back to McTech. And that was it. And then 2020 came. And there was a whole different paradigm that has happened. So I appreciate all of you. And obviously, I encourage the volunteerism as well to make sure we do have safe and secure elections, because that's one of my #1 platforms, especially this year. Give you a little introduction about me. Russ Skinner, Maricopa County Sheriff, currently appointed as the sheriff. I was appointed by the Board of Supervisors in February of this year, and am doing Paul Penzone's remaining term for his candidacy that he had previous. With that, I'm very excited, and it's surreal for me. I've been with the office for almost 34 years. Started as a young deputy. Yes, I know the gray hairs don't show as much, but that'll do it to you with this job for sure. 1990, May of 1990, I've been in the county for over 50 years. Grew up north side of town, live in the east side of town now currently, and have a great family out here that has supported me. Second generation Maricopa County Sheriff. My dad was a deputy sheriff. Served from 1976. We actually overlapped for 10 years. So just to tell you all that this is what I grew up in, this agency, in law enforcement, and my #1 mission is public safety. I don't think about politics. I never thought about politics. In fact, this scares me to death, I'll be honest with you. But the reality is I have a calling to ensure that we keep continuity in this county. I have a calling to ensure that that agency moves forward and that our community is served in the utmost respect and unbiased manner. I've actually been assigned, when we first had a court order issued on the agency in October of 2013, I remember that vividly, came out of a very premier assignment in Lake Patrol to go do the implementation of the Melendrez court order, which many of you probably know, because the amount of money that it has cost this county has been tremendous. I've been part of the ones that helped develop conversations with the monitor team. Judge Snow, I've sat in his courtroom many, many times. dealt with the ACLU and DOJ. The one thing I do have is good communication, and I hope to continue that. I'm sure that it's not fractured, so that we can continue the progress forward of what's needed with the reforms, the measures, and the compliance. We're on a good path. I was Paul Penzone's #2 as the chief deputy for the last 6 years. So many of you probably know Sheriff Penzone, and he trusted me to run the organization, to do the operational end of it, to ensure where we're at today. If you like the way the sheriff's office looks the last 7 years, that's because of the leadership that's there, leadership under Paul Penzone, but I hope to continue that path. So I know I can sit here and probably talk all day about the sheriff's office being there for so long, but I do want to get to questions here in a second. Well, a couple of things I want to give you is a few of the initiatives that I'm looking at, and a lot of it has to do with our mental health issues that we're dealing with in the field and in our jail system. Some of you may know or may not know what the sheriff's office does. There's a lot of components to the sheriff's office, but we are the 4th largest county in the United States of America. Our jail population averages right now about 7,000 inmates. About 90,000 people come through our doors. We serve 26 different agencies throughout the valley, and that's the biggest, 2/3 of our agency, that's the biggest portion, is our detention facilities, our jail facilities, our detention staff, and the inmates we care for. And obviously, we're dealing a lot more with drug addiction issues than we ever have before, and mental health issues. And so the initiatives that we want to continue is programs for making sure that we rehabilitate and reentry programs for them, as well as in our community with co-responder programs for our law enforcement agent or our law enforcement partners out there, as well as our own agency. So we want to continue those paths. The other thing is, and you live in the East Valley, you see a lot of what's going on in the southeast portion of Maricopa County with teen violence, other issues where teens are being, exposed to a lot of things that we didn't see back in the day, the social media, bullying, and then the drug addiction and fentanyl issues. We want to continue to forward progress with the programs and the involvement to ensure that we start getting into them at younger ages. We're looking to reinstitute their program, quite a few other programs that we currently already have in the school programs. Another big one too is, like we talked about, safety and security for our election cycle, making sure that everybody is safe and secure. There's going to be zero tolerance with threats, with issues that involve any type of security measures in our election cycle in 2024 and going forward. We work with our county partners, we work with our federal partners, our local and state agencies to ensure that, and we will make sure and continue that path. It's sad that it's come to this point, but we have to make sure that we start taking things and taking the action necessary to address these issues so that the voting public and democracy can be served. And we're going to continue that. Some of the other things too is, again, the continued partnerships and programs. And I won't sit here and talk about other people that are running for office, but what you get with me is somebody that's already established with the agency, somebody that already knows the agency inside and out, already knows the progression and measures that we're working on, as well as the partnerships. I can call any chief of police in this Maricopa County metropolitan area and vice versa, and we have a good connection. The other thing too is most of the other candidates hadn't been in law enforcement for the last 5 years. Do you think Maricopa County's changed in 5 years with our population growth, with the social issues we're facing, and the law enforcement and public safety issues we're facing? I've continuous service for 34 years with this county. And I can tell you that I'm committed to continuing to serve this county for the needs that we have. And there's no greater time than now for public safety to continue to rise, to meet with the community initiatives and make sure that we're working together in partnership to move forward. Again, enough about me. My main concern is what you have, the questions you have, what your community needs. And again, I know a lot of times you don't deal with the sheriff's office on a day-to-day basis, but you may have a family member, you may have a relative, you may have a friend that may come through our jail system. We also serve the court systems. Just like the constables serve the justice courts, we serve the superior courts, evictions, subpoenas, or search and rescue. We also do a myriad of support. We have a full-time SWAT team. We run 2 helicopters in our aviation unit, extraditions, and the list goes on and on and on. But now's the time for your questions and hopefully be able to talk about your initiatives.
Okay, we got several questions along the same vein, so I will summarize these 4 or 5. The question is, did you recently change to be a Democrat just to be appointed? And how can we trust that you have the democratic values that we hold, such as human rights?
No, that's a great question. And I know that's been asked a couple times of me. Listen, I'm a law enforcement professional. My first and foremost passion and opportunity is to serve the public. It doesn't matter what political affiliation you are with, what origin you're from, anything that we have that divides us is not in law enforcement. Politics has divided a lot of people. I know that in this country. And I'm all about making sure that I'm fair and impartial in the delivery of my services and making sure we go forward. I never thought about being in politics. Politics didn't mean much to me and still really don't, to be honest with you. But I find myself in this situation where I needed to rise up to be able to serve our community and serve our agency. And I will tell you this, I'm the longest running Democrat right now on the ticket. So I know that's not maybe what you want to hear, but the reality is it was not hard for me to do this because it was the right thing to do. There was a calling when I saw the uncertainty, when Paul Pinzone sat me aside and said, listen, I'm not running next year. Oh, great, I'm getting ready to retire anyways. Secondly, I'm leaving in January. And I thought, oh, I can leave in January. I had 33 years with the office. I'm in the drop. I'm technically already starting my retirement. I walked away with a 60% pay cut to take this. I walked away from over $200,000 in the drop. And I get it, it's not a financial issue. But it's about doing the right thing because a lot of people that I talk to, who's stepping up to be a candidate these days and for what reasons? And I ask you to research this. Listen, I'm no special person. I'm not Superman. I don't have the cape. I'm all 5'6" on a good day, maybe 5'7" if I stand taller. The reality is I'm doing this is because my whole life has been public service and serving the community. And this 3,000 person agency is my family. And if I walked away from it without taking an opportunity to say, you know what, there's not a lot of people raising the right hand, number one, to be law enforcement or public safety. But number two, candidates in this country, they give two shakes about people. They do it for their own interest a lot of times. I'm doing it because this is the right thing to do to be able to continue to serve the community. And that comes from the heart. And hopefully that's good enough. And hopefully you research the candidates in every category, because that's what I look at. We want the best people to represent our community. And I'd hope that would be the case and not for ill faith or ill will. But I want to do it in an unbiased manner and make sure that we're moving in the progression that we do, because the Melendrez court orders costing the agency a lot of money, costing the taxpayers a lot of money, and we have a lot of public safety individuals that need to be supported in the right ways in our community, working together with our law enforcement agency. And I'm not going to go in there. We've seen past history where problems arise because it's about politics, it's about ego, and it's about everything else. I don't have any of that. And hopefully you understand that.
Okay, a couple more questions. First of all, are you pro-choice, and how will you protect women and providers against prosecution for making their own reproductive health decisions? And what will you do when the 1864 ban is fully installed, which will primarily affect Black and Brown communities?
Yeah, and obviously those are big measures, and I will tell you that from a law enforcement perspective, because that's all I'm going to be able to go down, is we will do things to make sure that we're protecting everybody equally as needed, as the law requires, and make sure that if there are issues that we have to discuss relative to whether it be prosecution or moving forward, that we need to make sure we consult with the AG's office or the county attorney's office, depending on the situation. But as a law enforcement officer, deputy sheriff, I don't take sides in this. I have to, you have to trust in the person leading the agency and working in public safety to do what you expect to do with the laws on the books. And if there are different changes or different viewpoints, that's why we have legislative body to look at that, make those changes, and then we enact it. And I tell you, I've met a lot of the legislatures throughout my career in reference to changing laws and how it impacts public safety and how it impacts community, just as you all do when you ask for those laws to be changed or initiated. So I'm going to take the fine line, but it's about public safety for me. It's not about what I believe, what I don't believe, because I still have to, at the end of the day, make sure I'm upholding the law and serving the public as expected.
Okay, last and final question for time. It looks like we have several regarding racial profiling and the black cloud that's brought over the department. How do you feel about enforcing racial profiling if Arizona was to pass a profiling bill similar to the one in Texas?
Great question. Actually, this one I can stand very firm on. Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is permanently enjoined from anything immigration. We have a federal court order that prevents us from doing so. And not only is it a court order, but it is written into our policy. It is ingrained in our training. It is ingrained in our staff. We have a very robust professional standards bureau that if anybody makes a complaint against any of our employees, they are held accountable. We will not get involved in immigration at all. That is a federal level issue. It is not a county level issue. And Lord knows we've got enough issues on the state level and the local level that we need to deal with limited resources. All we can do is continue to support what is needed for this community. So we will not get involved in that at all.
Last call for Bada Bing tickets. If you haven't purchased yours yet, reminder we have barbecue and beer and also the Kate Spade polka dot tea kettle. Oh, sorry, wrong one. What is it? Wine and what?
It's a wine, I make wine disappear and then.
I make wine disappear and Kate Spade is print.
Anyways.
All right, and then Melissa's up with our treasury report.
Okay. All right, our current treasury is, we currently have $35,522.03. This is the cash on hand. For the month of March, we had a beginning balance of $34,490.34. We had contributions of $3,385.48. We had disbursements of $1,930.96, leaving the ending cash at March at $35,944.86. Is there any questions about our treasury? We are continuing to save, getting ready for neighbor-to-neighbor letters. We know that's going to be the biggest cost for our district. Next slide. LD12 has a lot of merchandise. We have bumper stickers. We have car magnets. We have shirts that you can wear at the grocery store. You could be like me. I've got one for every day of the week, sometimes two. I wear them everywhere. Everywhere I go, everybody knows that I wear a shirt that makes a statement, says who I stand for, what I stand for, shows my values. I love it. Sometimes I get good stuff, sometimes I don't, but I don't care. It's who I am. So please make sure you go over there and check out our t-shirts. We have the vote shirts, the LD12 shirts, anything you think of. And if you want to buy your Bada Bing, this is like your last chance because Joe is going to come on. He's going to share screen soon. But while you guys are buying your last minute tickets, I'd love to hear from my legislators. We have both Mitzi and Patty. The cookbooks are over there. They're also online. Who would like to go first? Or you guys want to come together? Oh. Yeah, together. That's what I was saying. Singing and dancing, you know. Okay. Oh, okay. We are gonna sing and dance.
No dancing for me. I'm actually gonna be having knee surgery in 2 weeks. Yeah, and so with that, I know Senator Epstein and I and Representative Travers are very wanting to ask for all of your help in getting out the vote and getting knocking on doors and talking to folks and all. I believe Senator Epstein passed out a form. If you don't already have that on your table, pick one up. I had a sheet I was going to have you sign too, but since she passed that out, we'll let you do that instead. So, but yeah, so I'll be needing a little bit of help because I'm going to be having surgery. They're giving me a new one. Yay! Let's see, what's happening? Today I was at the Capitol with the governor, and she signed the assisted living measure for legislation to help with our senior living. Yes, thank you. It was a good bill that Senator Dunn, Representative Dunn, former Representative Longden worked very hard on for 5 years. I got in on the last part of that, and I got a little piece of that action too, as far as a little part that I added to it, but it's really going to help with our assisted living facilities and all. Some of you may have read about in the newspaper about folks who were getting attacked by other residents in assisted living and memory care facilities and all. So this is going to give some training to folks who are in memory care facilities. Go up from 4 hours to 8 hours. Also some rulemaking that the department can do so that they can take care of some of the issues that are happening in those facilities. So I was really honored to be there today to be able to participate in that signing. Let's see. We have budget talks coming up. Our leadership, and I'm sure Senator Epstein will talk about this. Budget talks will be coming up. The rest of us rank and file members are talking to our leadership to give them our priorities. Of course, education is top, front and center. We want to make sure that we can stay level with our education costs, our budget. I did a survey recently for talking about the budget, because the governor wants to pull back funding for this SR 3347, the road that comes right over here in Riggs Road. If any of you ever stopped and picked up shrimp or popcorn there, that's that intersection. But I've driven through there many, many times, going down to Yuma, of course, into Maricopa. And I put out a survey for folks who, because they kept sending me emails, probably Senator Epstein too, probably got hundreds of emails. I sent out 180 emails and I got back 825 results. So I don't know how that works, the math, but interesting. Not everybody comes through that intersection for work. I thought the majority would be for work, but a lot of folks are coming for entertainment, but mostly for doctor's appointments. And also that intersection is very, very busy. Prime times of the days, of course, in the mornings and in the afternoons, but the majority of the folks also come 5 times a week. So they're coming up here quite a bit. And a lot of folks are working in Chandler. 40% of the respondents are working in Chandler and 16% here in Ahwatukee. So it's a very, very busy intersection. I had to cut off the survey because my limit is only so much on that, you know, and then they start charging me for everybody that responds, and I didn't want to pay that. But I'm sure I could have gotten thousands more results from that, but that's something where, you know, what the governor's pulling back on some of the issues, of course, the $15 million for the Prescott rodeo grounds. I definitely see that when that came through the first time, I was like, what on earth is that? We need to get rid of that. And there's a couple other things, of course, that she had a whole list of things that she's going to be pulling back on. But I'm hoping that we can preserve that intersection to make sure so it's improved in that intersection, so we can get back and forth. And those of you who'd like to go gamble down there, you know, so you know that much. So, what else? We are on semi-hiatus right now. You may have read that we're only going in once a week as far as the House. I don't know about the Senate. You guess same once a week on Wednesdays, trying to take care of the rest of the business. The governor is busy with her veto pen, of course, and rightfully so. Some of the bills that we've heard this year, just outrageous things again. And we hope that she can, you know, stop them with her veto pen. The unfortunate thing is there's a lot that are coming through on SCRs and HCRs, you know, the resolutions that are coming directly to the voters. And just want to remind everybody, and of course we'll be talking about this down the road because this is still early yet, that we need to vote the whole ballot and make sure that none of those bad resolutions get through, because those are constitutional amendments and they're very, very hard to change down later. So we want to make sure that we vote all the way down the ballot and get those all done. As always, once a month, I have the conversations at with Contreras at Brick Road Coffee. That's this Friday. Is it this Friday? Next Friday. Next Friday. Sorry. One is Friday. It's on your agenda. It's on your calendar. Please come and join us. Have a cup of coffee. Have some tea. Just conversation, or you can ask what's going on in the legislature. It's a nice fun to get around and talk to folks kind of in a relaxed basis and all. And with that, I will hand it over to Senator Epstein.
I think that Rep. Petty-Contreras, I like to repeat the name because there are 2 or 3 new folks, and I want you to know, really does a great job of representing the people. Once a month, meeting with anybody who wants to show up at the coffee shop. She's there to talk with you, doing a survey. I always learn new stuff about what's going on in transportation because she is a really active member, not just being there, but active on that transportation committee. So one more round of applause for my colleague, Patty. I want you all, if you don't mind, to think for a minute about what made you come here tonight. Aside from the fact that we love each other, because let's face it, that is why we're here. I just love seeing each and every one of you. It's such a treat for me to see you. But there's something going on in your lives that makes you say, you know, I want the Democrats to win. I am tired of hearing all this stuff from the other side. And so I want you to think about that, because I'm going to ask you, raise your hand in a minute or two, to throw out a question or issue or something that is lighting your fire. What is making your hair turn on fire right now? Well, tomorrow, let me give you a few ideas. Tomorrow, the ruling from the Arizona Supreme Court will come down. And one way or another, I don't know of a good news day tomorrow, but there's going to be press conferences. The window will be down at the Capitol. We, your legislators, will be there to represent. And when we go back on Wednesday, we will be there with plans for the floor to shenanigate our way into getting something done. They will not hear our bills, but we are going to shenanigate them onto the floor to make them debate bills about the fact that we should control our own lives. We should have choices, and health, abortion care is health care. We'll be standing up for you. And that's what it is. We have met often in school buildings, and we know that public schools are under attack. We know that our school teachers are fleeing the profession because they feel disrespected. We shouldn't, and we hear bills week after week, month after month, that are just new ways to punish school teachers. Do you know what my colleagues on the other side of the aisle do? When I put out an amendment that says, okay, you want to punish a public school teacher for doing that, my amendment says do the same for a private school. And the Republicans say no. And that's because they're not trying to help and protect children. They're trying to punish public schools because they are, and there is no other thing going on except they are trying to decimate and dismantle our public school system. And do you know why? Because in our public schools, we accept every child and we care about every child, and we teach every child that every other child matters. And when they go to private school, I can tell you now, Turning Point Academy Schools is celebrating it when they bullied professor at ASU, Professor Boyles. They were celebrating the bullying. That's what they want to teach. Prager University has ads that say, we change people's minds. Put our curriculum in your school so we can change people's minds. Can you imagine Encyclopedia Britannica writing to you to say, we change people's minds? No, they present the facts. But that's the difference between public schools and private schools. And that it's the difference between present the facts, present the issues, and present propaganda. And we've seen what happens when people read too much propaganda and their lives start to be hurtful and painful, and the othering happens. And we've heard that from our former president, who called real people vermin. And we know where that came from too. So what do we want instead? We want a Democratic majority in our legislature, because I don't want to hear Jake Hoffman say one more time, yes, let's give applause for we want a Democratic majority. I don't want to hear Jay Kaufman ever say again that DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is racism, because that's what he says when he pushes a bill that makes it against the law to spend money, to spend public money on diversity, equity, and inclusion. They are against these fundamental values of caring about each other. And we've got to stop that. And more than anything else, I do not ever want to hear Senator Anthony Kern, and he's done it twice. Both of these guys are fake electors. I don't ever want to hear him again say that Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is not qualified to be a Supreme Court Justice, because he said it more than twice, and both times I really had to hold myself back. But instead, I wrote a proclamation that says, whereas Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson and all of her many, many credentials, whereas after whereas after whereas, therefore we all celebrate that she is the most highly qualified Supreme Court Justice we have ever heard before. And get that. Positive, and when we get to the Democratic majority, what are we going to do? We're going to fund education better so that we can teach kids about bullying, not to bully, and we can have our teachers feel respected, and we can know that our future is in good hands because our public school teachers are great teachers. Let's give that a round of applause. We are going to make sure not only that we have the rights to abortion health care, but that we have the right to contraception, because we brought that to the floor and they said no, but we're going to say yes. And we're going to make sure that we protect democracy and that we stop going around and hearing people say that our elections are not fair just because my guy wins. But that is not going to help anybody. But we are going to have secure and fair elections, and we're going to make sure that it is convenient for every eligible voter to get out and vote. That voting centers are a great idea and they keep on going, and that you get that little text that says, hey, we got your ballot in the mail and it was counted. Those are fantastic things. We want to see those great things going that we have here in Arizona. Let's give it a that. And that's just at the state legislature where we're going to make a majority, but we are going to elect President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. We are going to elect Senator Ruben Kelly. We just talked about Ruben Gallego. And we're going to re-elect Representative Greg Stanton to Congress as well. Because our federal government has done wonderful things for our economy with the CHIPS Act, with TSMC, with Intel, great paying jobs, and all the other businesses that support those businesses. We are going to elect them because President Joe Biden, with his executive orders, has done more for gun violence prevention than anybody else has in years and years and years. And we're going to elect them because this is the way forward and this is progress. So we should protest. We always should protest our presidents. But let's also make sure that our protest doesn't stop progress. So we are all going to get out there, I hope, and tell our friends, please vote for Joe Biden, because the other option is not progress, it's backwards. So let's give it up for Elijah and all the great work he's doing to make sure we're going to get that done. All right, now here comes the big ask. So you've got the vision. Why? What are you here for? Put your hand in the air and tell me, okay, but what are you here for?
I'm here because I don't want my grandchildren to grow up in 50.
Yes, no. Anybody else, why are you here tonight? What's important to you? What makes your hair on fire? Go there, go ahead. Yes, the marginalized don't have to fight anymore. That's what we are. That's exactly what Democrats are all about. You know, the marginalized don't have to fight anymore, because we are all in this together. So thank you for that. Well, in order to make it happen, we've got to top of the ticket, bottom of the ticket, and at the state level, we've got to get to a Democratic majority, and this is the year. So I want you to know there are 3 really cool districts out there. How many of you were here in 2016 when LD18 was the coolest district on the planet? Thank you, thank you. Turning this district from red to blue was it the most fun thing? By round of applause, was it the most fun thing you ever did in your whole life? Let's have that fun again. We need that kind of energy again, because this is the year 2024 when we could get a Democratic majority. There are 3 districts out there where it could happen. We need 1 seat to tie, 2 seats to get to the majority. We've got 3 options. Let me tell you these names because I want you to go on a little road trip with me up there to bring some of our joyful LD12 volunteers up to LD27 in North Phoenix, where Josh Abbott and Deb Howard are going to be majority makers, up to LD7, down to LD17 in Tucson-ish, where John McClain and Kevin Vogt are running, and they are going to be majority makers, and back north up to LD2, where Judy Schwiebert is in the House now, super awesome representative, and she's running for the Senate, and Stephanie Simicek is running for the Senate in North Phoenix. We're going to caravan up there. I'm hopeful to get 2-3 vans full of people, volunteers, from our wonderful, fabulous LD12, who are excited to get a majority. And we're going to bring our volunteers up there to write postcards, to stuff envelopes, to deliver yard signs, whatever they need. We're going to take some of the love from down here and we're going to literally spread it up there to make the majority happen. So I want to know, are you with me? Are you with me, LD12? Are you with me? Are you with me over there? Are you with me? Okay. Then let's fill out the form that says be a majority maker. This is a big dream we've all got. We all need to be in it. Let's make that excitement like we had in 2016 when we turned this district from red to blue. Let's go help a couple other districts turn from red to blue too. So fill in your card. Please note, I want everybody to put your name down there. It says things like write postcards to voters. So maybe you don't want to talk to voters. That's okay. Can you write a postcard and color it with pretty colors? That's a big help. Can you sit indoors and do some collating of papers? That's another thing that's a big help, and we need people to do that. So please, I really want everybody, even if I've already got your name, put your name down on the card and let me know what can you do to help, because this needs to be all hands on deck. And I know that there are people out there who are thinking, I love to drive. Because we need stuff just to be driven around sometimes. If I can stay on the phone or if I can stay on the doors, that's better. And that way, if I don't have to go drive something to deliver it and you can drive it to deliver it, that's a big help. So please, everybody, put your name down. Let me know what you can do. We got to be every single one of us in it to win it this year. Oh, I see a question, Kathy. Go ahead. Yes, you guessed it. That's exactly what the comments are for. Yes, let me know if you want to be part of the mighty majority makers and caravan up to the other districts to spread the love and make the majority happen. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Senator Epstein. If you are a candidate and or you have any new business, please begin lining up here while we do our bada bing raffle. You will each have 1 minute on the clock. No pressure. And while we wait for Joe to share his screen. Okay. First basket, can you read what it is, Melissa?
The first basket is the wine basket.
The first basket is the I Make Wine Disappear basket. How many, Melissa? I can't.
134.
We had 134 tickets sold for this. Random number is
77.
77, and that ticket belongs to.
No way.
Let me guess. Gavin. Gavin is the luckiest person I know, and I swear, why don't you play the lottery?
Oh, Gavin.
Okay, the next one is the Kate Spade Tea Kettle basket.
We sold 291.
We sold 291 tickets for that one. The ticket number is 135, and that belongs to
Oh, Craig Velasco.
Craig
Craig
Velasco. Our first new business.
Try to stand close to the Zoom so they or
I go close.
they
My
can
head
hear you.
chopped off.
I know,
I don't want
but
my
then
head
they
chopped
can
off.
hear you. Okay.
Hi, Janet Hamlet. I just wanted to let you guys know who I'm supporting for the Democratic National Convention. LD12, formerly 18, has always been a leader in bringing in young people, bringing in energy, and bringing in people of color. And it is really important in my world to make sure that that's who we are sending to the DNC to represent CD4. So I am supporting for my three men, Jacob Rayford, who has done an amazing job recruiting PCs and getting out the vote in LD8. Absolutely amazing progress they're making up there. I am also supporting Cedric Collins, who is also running for Kyrene School Board and has done a great job also getting out, being at farmers markets and being at events. And also AJ, where's AJ? There you are, hello, not in the queue. And then for female candidates, I am supporting Nicole Brown. Many of you know her. She's been very active, thanks Nicole. And Lisa Calderon, who's been very active also in Save Our School. So thank you for the support for young people.
All very good people. I agree. I'm Paul White. I also want to be a convention delegate for CD4. And I love Jacob and Cedric and AJ and all the other good candidates that we have. But I have been busting my butt for this district for 30 plus years. I was the chair way back when. I'm going to continue to bust my butt for this district. And at the convention, I am prepared to be on the platform committee, the rules committee, whatever is necessary. So I look forward to being at the convention with several of these people as well. So I hope that you'll support me, Paul White, on April 20th. Wasn't that right, Janie? April 20th at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Rothschild. I'm a retired ASU Women's Studies professor. I was the founder of the program. And I started my first campaign work for Democrats for Eugene McCarthy in 1968, which I figured out this on my driving here was 56 years ago. So I'm not one of the young candidates. I'm one of the old candidates. But I've always wanted to go to the Democratic National Convention. I've worked in every single presidential campaign since 1968, often as a full-time volunteer for Shirley Chisholm, for Eugene McCarthy, for Barack Obama in Texas and Arizona, for Hillary Clinton here and in Washington, and for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris here. I've worked for all the local candidates. I have tabled at every single election pretty much since I got here. I moved in 75, and I think I started really working in 1980 for the Democratic Party here. And I really hope to go to the national convention. I really have always wanted to go. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Aurelia Barrera, and I am a candidate to represent CD4 at the 2024 Democratic National Convention. As long as I can remember, I have been active. I have attended rallies in elementary and junior high. My dad would put us in the station wagon. We would go and attend Cesar Chavez rallies. In high school, he would take us to presidential rallies, and I attended one for Robert Kennedy while I was in high school. In college, I attended many rallies and did a lot of marching against the Vietnam War. And now, as a retired senior, I'm still marching. I've done the women's marches, and I have also attended rallies against the separation of children and families in our migrant crisis. I am an LD12 PC and a state committee person and have been an active volunteer in this district since I retired. Today's political and social climate is very concerning to me. Our Constitution is at risk. I believe that Joe Biden is the candidate that will ensure that we keep our Constitution in place and protect our voter rights, human rights, women's rights, and LGBTQ rights. Thank you.
My name is Jeannie Heidrich, but I'm here to speak on behalf of Lisa Malakowski. She's out of the country and unable to be with you directly. Lisa was born into a strongly Democratic and Union family in upstate New York. She graduated from Vassar College and moved to Arizona in 2010. To help create change, she's been a lifelong activist for LGBTQ and other democratic causes. Lisa is an LD12 PC and state committee person, served on the Arizona Human Rights Committee and on Emerge Arizona's board of directors. She's worked hard on many campaigns for Greg Stanton, Barack Obama, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, Katie Hobbs, and Patty Contreras. Lisa has also been a poll worker and a polling tabulation observer in Maricopa County. Please join me in electing Lisa Malakowski to represent our values at the DNC, and her papers on your tables.
Hi, my name is Jacob Rayford. I am the co-chair of the Black Engagement Committee. I'm also the first vice chair for LBA. I just want to say out loud, like, you guys are a source of inspiration. Can you guys give yourselves a round of applause because amazing. So I am running for DNC delegate. It would be an honor for me to be able to go into to Chicago in August to be able to help not only pledge for Biden-Harris, but take this very important value alignment that we believe in when it comes to progressive Democrats and making sure that we are on the same page. All this big tent stuff is all to the side. Regardless of what happens when we get to this upcoming event over in August, we are going to make sure that we fight to protect democracy, that we push back fascism. I would love to be a delegate. Regardless of what happens, if you vote for me or not, there are other amazing candidates like Lisa Calderon, like Nicole Brown, like Cedric Collins, and AJ, and all the amazing Democrats who are going to go out there and represent us. So I would love to have your vote, but regardless of what happens, we are going to protect democracy. My name is Jacob Rayford. If you vote for me on April 20th, I'll be fine. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Calderon, and I am trying to be your next DC delegate. So vote for me, Lisa C., DC delegate. A little background on me. So I'm originally from California. We brought our 3 daughters to Arizona. Intel brought us here. Thank you, Intel. And then we raised another daughter. So I am a mother of 4 daughters. I really care about public education. It is my jam. I have a lot of more learning to do. I would love to represent you and get to learn firsthand on the in and outs of what's happening at the national level. So please vote for me and Jacob and Nicole and AJ. We would love your support. Thank you so much.
How many people yesterday watched the women's NCAA championship? We had one phenomenal player that brought attention to the women's NCAA championship in Caitlin Clark. One, but it was a team of people that actually won the championship, led by a leader, one leader. And so what I'm saying here today is that one person, Joe Biden, is on the right side of democracy, but he needs all of us, a team of people, to vote for him and to support him and to push through his agenda. So I am asking you, my name is Nicole Brown. I don't think I said that, but those who don't know me, I'm Nicole Brown, and I am running for DNC committee because I believe leadership matters. Everyone deserves to be led well. And leadership is where we're at. We have a group of young Dems who are phenomenal and have shown the way. Those basketball players have shown the way. Let's take those skills to Chicago and then DC, and let's get Joe and Kamala reelected for in 2024 November. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We all know everything.
I mean, I don't know how I think I can own it. I have imposter syndrome. I don't think I can follow all these great speeches. How you guys doing? How you guys doing at home? My name is Cedric Collins, and I'm also a candidate for DNC delegate. I grew up in a strong Democratic household. I can still see the pictures on the wall: Jesus, Martin Luther King, and John F. Kennedy. I was raised by my grandparents who held the equivalent of a 6th and 3rd grade education because they grew up in an era where they were not allowed to go to school. They lacked literacy skills, but there's one thing they did consistently, and that was vote. I vividly remember standing in line with them as they exercised that right. See, I could stand up here and run off a resume of accolades as to why I should be selected, but I won't. Because to me, this is bigger than that. This is an opportunity for me to redefine my family's legacy and honor those before me who were denied the opportunity to share in these spaces. And even though they were denied access, they still went out and voted, even if their lives were in danger. At a recent meeting, Armani Jackson urged us to notice the lack of diversity in this room. I see this as an opportunity to contribute to and expand on the goals of the Democratic Party in our great state of Arizona. So I humbly ask for your support and your vote. Together we can rewrite the narrative. Together we can create a better future for all. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Satry, and I'm running for Kyrene School Board. And the reason I'm running is it's for my daughter. Honestly, the public schools have been so great to her. She started off really struggling in school, and I've seen the dedication of teachers and the programs that public schools offer, and she's turned it around. She's happy, she's thriving, and I want this for all Kyrene kids. I want them to feel respected and safe and valued. And I really want to be there for our teachers. And I think we need to listen to them and focus on their interests and what they need. And I want to be there for them. So thank you so much. I appreciate your support. And thank you for everyone who's been helping me collect signatures and mentoring me and answering all my questions. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So a little bit of change here. I am not a candidate. My name is Chris Muffin, CNW13. And I think many of you know my wife, Deborah Mateada. She's the first vice chair of LD13. She's also the events coordinator, and she's also the coordinator for the internship program. And I raise all that because I'm here to invite you to a fundraiser that we have. Bad news is at the exact same time as your watering hole. It's April 24th, 6 to 9 o'clock. But we're holding that event, and yeah, that's our poster over there. We're holding that event to raise money to make sure that we can continue to fund our internship program. It's very successful. We were hoping to have 3 or 4 interns for the spring session. We ended up with 8 very good candidates. We're collecting, thank you. We're collecting applications now for summer, and we need to do a little bit of fundraising to make sure we can support the ball. So it's April 24th. Tickets are $30. Hope you're enjoying.
Hello, amazing LD12 Democrats. My name is Ajlan Kurdolu. You can call me AJ. I'm running to be your next Chandler City Council member. For those of you, thank you. I haven't met yet. 18-year Chandler resident and engineer, small business owner. The love of my life, she's a public school teacher, and I'm a proud migrant, proud first-generation American, and also a proud Democrat in this race. And I'm running to make Chandler a city that is more welcoming, more inclusive. Everyone, regardless of their background, listened and heard. And I must say, thanks to an amazing group of volunteers, many of you here, I'm proud to say that we collected and filed 1,797 signatures last week among 7 candidates. Yes, 7. And I told you, we are the hardest working team of people, and I do need you on my side. You brought me here. to the first phase of this election. And I need your support as the only loud and proud Democrat in this race. I do need your support. And I want to say a special thank you to Beth and Craig and Scotty out there and Dr. Heydrich on your tabling efforts. It was a great help. Thank you so much. And now I want to take another 30 seconds to tell you that I'm running for DNC delegate. I need your support. It was a great joy throughout the years working alongside with you as a PC, as a treasurer, as a first chair, as a second chair on our boards, as a small lead, small business council lead, and also state committee person. But the most important part was working as a friend with you. And if you send me to Chicago, you're gonna give me a chance to say thank you to Joe Biden. Because a few years back, that was one of the proudest moments that I have in this political circles, I must say. I was endorsed by Joe Biden and Barack Obama a few years back. So I want to say, I think we're going to meet him, right, when we go there, to say thank you. And don't forget to vote as well for Cedric and Jacob and Lisa and Nicole. Thank you.
Any other business? Any others? Okay, with that being said, we'll go ahead and close the meeting. It is 8:11 p.m. So thank you all for joining us. Please make sure that you clean up your tables and put your chairs in. Thank you. Oh, if you have any proxies you want